What's up, guys? It is 9:01 a.m. U.S. Pacific Daylight Time here in Los Angeles, and it is Friday, September 10th, 2021 AD. Anno Domini, the year of our Lord. Fear not. Do not worry. Are you worried? Are you mad? Because Sleazy Joe is being Sleazy Joe. And so are the rest of the people who are his puppet masters. Oh, I better not do this. They'll get mad at me. So charming. Sleepy Joe is so charming. Such an old man. Such a charming old man. Geriatric Joe. But anyway, guys, I have a beautiful last two songs of the Knights of the New Crusade will be today. The Knights of the New Crusade, Christian band, supposedly, right? From 2006. This is from the 2006 album, A Challenge to the Cowards of Christendom. Here is the second to last track, Why Do You Want to Go to Hell? That is from the Knights of the New Crusade. Cover your ears, press mute, and you musical Philistines who also agree with me that this is fun, enjoy. I'll talk you through it. Hope you like it.
Some people make jokes about hell.
They say that's where their friends will be.
But hell is no joke. It's a place of eternal darkness and torment.
If any of your friends are there, you won't see them.
You won't hear them either. Their screams will be drowned out by the billions of other screams, including your own. Why do you want to go to hell?
In hell, the truth of the Bible will be clear.
But it'll be too late to accept Jesus' sacrifice.
You will go through eternity knowing that God's love is real, but that you rejected it and chose eternal suffering instead.
This is scary.
Why do you want to go to hell?
Crusade helmets are retarded. Says taking care of business there.
Jesus, God's only begotten Son, conquered death and hell for you.
All you have to do is put your faith in him and you will be saved.
Don't listen to the devil. The only consolation in his misery is dragging others down.
He wants you in hell with him to suffer as he suffers from the absence of God's presence.
So pray the sinner's prayer.
Why do you want to go to hell?
This is creepier than Joe Biden.
Tell me.
Turn it up, says Gary Duarte. Actually, Christian music is the worst. Wow. No, they didn't say sinner's prayer. That's what I said to do. Save yourself from hell. No, this is Alternative Tentacles. This is on Alternative Tentacles. It's not a ripoff. Hilarious. Well, guys, Satan's prayers, says Odie Red Skull. Well, I hope you enjoyed that, guys. But anyway, let's get right on with the show!
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
Good morning, guys! Hey, guys! We're gonna be talking about the China virus mandates by the evil people who love killing babies but pretend to want to protect Americans' lives. And you can call in.
Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la. Oh, it's the Hake Report, the Hake Report, la la la.
So, man, my voice is getting worse. How are you all doing? I am fine. I will be taking your calls. It will be on the screen. 888-775-3773. I hope you enjoyed that. But I have some things to cover for you guys. I have some things to cover. By the way, Alternative Tentacles was the record label, or is the record label, that the second album by the Knights of the New Crusade, which I've been playing on all this week, appeared on. It was produced by Alternative Tentacles, or put out on the Alternative Tentacles record label, which is not a Christian record label. That is a record label run by isn't it Dead Kennedys, which is a punk rock band from way back? That guy, Jello Biafra, isn't he the head of the Alternative Tentacles, or the former guy from the Dead Kennedys? It's a punk rock band. And so, anyway, they are called the Alternative Testaments. But I have to give you all some encouragement. Doesn't the Bible say, be not afraid and stuff like that? It says stuff like that, right? It says, Jesus says, do not worry. Do not worry. But many people are getting worried because sleazy Joe Biden is trying to stoke fear into the people. By the way, shout out to AJ Gallardo, the original The Hake Report theme song music creator. Thanks, Hake. After listening to your intro song, I finally feel right with God, says Super One Fluidity. AJ Gallardo wrote the song, The Hake Report. And then Trevor Wesley made a rendition that I play Monday through Thursday. Shorter, more bombastic, and excellent. And thank you to AJ Gallardo and to Trevor Wesley for the Hake Report theme songs. I appreciate that. And I like to play the AJ Gallardo original on Fridays, or we like to. But Sleazy Joe, is it not true that yesterday he mandated that as many people that he can to force so-called vaccinations on the people? If you work for a company that's 100 employees or more, or if you're a federal employee, or if you are a, so-called healthcare worker, which in my opinion, and the opinion of many others whose opinion I've heard and I've taken it for my own, is a misnomer. It's not healthcare that that these hospitals are doing. It's so-called sick care, keeping you comfortable while you're sick and while you're dying. It's not keeping you healthy. Most doctors themselves aren't even healthy. They're fat, or else they help kill babies in the womb. That's not health care. That's reproductive health care. No, it's not. Reproductive health means your ability to have babies, not your ability to kill the baby. AJ Gallardo made a good intro song. Yes. And so it's a total misnomer. But the way that the despots, the dictators, just like Obama before him, forced the phoniness onto the people, they did it by way of government employees. And then they have this precedent where they can force bigger companies to follow these laws. Like bigger companies are forced to follow stuff like minimum wage laws and all these different things. Oh, if you have 100 employees, maybe it's even 10 or more employees, you have to start giving them medical care, health insurance. And that's part of the Obamacare mess. There's all these, what is this, an executive order that Joe Biden is doing? He's using the Labor Department, which probably shouldn't exist. What good does the Labor Department do? I don't know if the Labor Department does much good in the world. I know they do a lot of evil. Labor Department. That's a branch of the federal government. He's using them to say, oh, vaccines and masks, testing. Get weekly test if you don't get so-called vaccinated. In all honesty, with the number of breakthrough cases that we're getting, you're going to end up getting weekly testing even for the so-called vaccinated, I bet. Maybe. If this sickness turns out to be as serious as they are claiming that it is, or pretending that it is it true, or what is the case? Is this so-called Delta variant that is going around and supposedly infecting kids and sending them to the hospital? And I don't know if there is a specific test specifically for the Delta variant, the India mutation of this Chinese/communist virus. And I call it communist because in the name of the fear of the virus, we are getting communism pushed onto us. It's terrible. Sleazy Joe. They're pretending, says Stephen Absolution. Yeah. Now the Mu variant. M-U. Mu. I remember Mu from when I was in high school. I feel like I learned about Mu in either trigonometry or calculus or something like that. And I don't remember what it was. And phony Fauci, fear-mongering. Yeah, that's right. I see Based America First. By the way, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you, Based America First, for the super chats. I see those over there on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Yeah, many small companies split into multiple smaller ones to avoid the Obamacare mess. Yeah, and many people got their hours cut because if you work a certain number of hours a week, they have to give you this Obamacare, which they have to pay through their own noses to give to you. Health, so-called insurance. I figured and expected it might happen, says Boston O'Donohue. Right on, buddy. Right on. And so I'm just wondering if people are concerned, angry, outraged, because I definitely am. I mean, it was kind of shocking, even though I knew that they were going to try that. It was like, and I saw a telegram light up. This is the hill we die on. Well, hopefully nobody dies. Hopefully none of the good guys die on this. But they're pushing people to get this so-called vaccine. Hello, James. 27 days left on my Facebook ban. What's up, Butch? Shout out to the Facebook crew. Nice to see you guys. I'm streaming on like 6 different platforms, guys, plus the audio platforms, which I don't count in those. The audio platforms being TalkStreamLive.com. You can find me on Jesse Lee Peterson's or my own, The Hake Report. Jesse Lee Peterson's, if you go to Jesse Lee Peterson's, the benefit of that is there is a listen line, a call-in line that you can dial. If you're a trucker, you can dial it, and you don't lose signal as quickly as you may lose internet signal. Very nice. And the benefit of the audio feed is, too, it doesn't take up as much data, supposedly. It may take up a lot of battery, but not much data. So that's another good idea if you're using the app and the Talks JLP Live app for the Apple Store people, or rdo.2/Jesse, because I'm on the Jesse Lee Peterson network. Looking forward to Nick's show happening soon, right? I know I am. I know a lot of you guys are. Dr. Fausti, says Zane Underwood. He's such a... Aren't you supposed to be done pretty much with your ego by like 82 or however old Dr. Fauci supposedly is? Phony Fauci. Dr. Anthony Fauci is a weaselly 82-year-old. Looks great for 82, honestly, I think. I personally think. Some people think that it's the adrenochrome, which I think is taken from baby blood, something like that. Yeah. Ugh. Keep me away from these people. Satanic. But he's such a woman. And by woman, I mean, like, he kisses up to his favorite people seem to be, based on his based on his communications that were leaked on WikiLeaks, is he's a Hillary Clinton fanboy. He thought it was a good thing when she's all shameless about her failure with the Benghazi situation. When she said, "What difference at this point does it make?" When she was she was asked, why was it? Why was it that the ISIS people, we think it was ISIS, according to Theodore and Walid Shubat, they seemed to see some ISIS flags in the 9/11 2012 terror attack. 9/11 2012 terror attack under the Obama watch. And Hillary Clinton was so-called Secretary of State. The horror, can you imagine? I shudder. And she's all, what difference does it make? We have to just figure out why it happened. What happened? Well, they just asked you that, evil woman. Phony person. But he thought, oh, you had such a great performance. He emailed her the next day, if my memory serves me correctly. And that was leaked out on WikiLeaks. And then later on, he appeared on the Rachel Maddow show, all happy because he was no longer under the thumb of our real president, Donald J. Trump. Now it was the Biden administration. He's all, I'm such a fan of your show. This lesbian liberal woman from MSLSD. Phony Fauci is like, oh, we want to get under 10,000 cases a day, whatever that means. If you want to know numbers stuff, I recommend, I think Daily Veracity, is that what it's called? dailyveracity.com. That's run, I do believe, by Real Vincent James, t.me/Real Vincent James. T, as in the letter T, .me, M-E, /Real Vincent James. If I remember correctly, let me just type that in. That's the Telegram. Indeed, it is. Yeah. He's a numbers guy. And yeah, Daily Veracity, Veracity. He's a numbers guy, and he's on it right now. And seems to be putting out, he's tries to get it right, which is more than I can say about the dishonest mainstream media and social media establishment that just try to push their agenda. So, the Bible does say, do not worry. And JLP also says, when you encounter challenges, be still. Because I noticed my mind going. Imagining what I would say to Sleepy Joe if I were to encounter him. Oh, man. Sleazy Joe Biden. But I won't repeat it on air because, not because it's cussing necessarily, but because it has to do with our real former president, a real man, not a woman. But it's pretty sick, this forced vaccination thing. I wonder if the atheists in our midst are for these forced vaccinations. I wonder. It also says, the Bible also says, something that was referenced by that black female singer whom I've touted a couple of times now, Victory Boyd. And I don't know much about her. She may be into the black thing. She's only 27 years old. But she said something, she made a reference to the Bible saying our body is a temple. Your body is a temple. I think of the Holy Spirit or something like that. And you don't just willy-nilly put anything in it. And that goes for other things, not just vaccinations, that you don't have like the full long-term results in yet. The long-term effects are kind of unclear. Very unclear. But it also goes with the pot, alcohol, cigarette smoke, the sex out of wedlock mess, the stuff that you do with your body, the pornography mess, stuff that debilitates and weakens you and destroys your body. So yes, do take care of your body and mind and spirit. Pray. Why worry when you can pray? What about vaping? The long-term results are unclear. Long-term results are unclear. Basically all the fun stuff, says Ashley. Wow. Moderation in everything, right? And some of it, it's good to just keep away from it entirely, right? You don't moderately have sex out of wedlock. Anyway, yeah, Sleepy Joe is evil. Let me just quickly, before I get to calls, show you this Patton Oswalt person. Because all these liberal so-called comedians are cringy. Cringy, not America first. Patton Oswalt is in his probably 50s, I believe. Look at him. And he's concerned about his health. And if you're not watching the video stream, this guy's fat. Not extreme. Well, by normal standards, he is extremely fat. But by the standards that have fallen in America, he is moderately fat. Because you would say that other guy who died, that other comedian who died who was pretty funny, the guy from something, Tommy Boy? I'm blanking on his name. Patton Oswalt is an atheist. Yeah, Chris Farley. Chris Farley was pretty fat. But he was at least funny anyway. I have never seen Patton Oswalt's stuff before. But this guy, according to Communist Nonsense Network, he canceled shows in Florida and Utah after venues refused to require proof of vaccination or even proof of a negative China virus test for entry into the comedy club, right? Or the venue, whatever. Florida and Utah, two of the most Christian, purportedly, countries, if you count the Mormons as Christians, right? I mean, they're about as Christian as the Christians nowadays, right? Maybe even a little bit more Christian than the Christians. But not fully necessarily, right? Anyway, this Patton Oswalt guy is all grandstanding. They're more fruitful. They make more babies. They're better behaved. Sometimes they fall for the rhino thing. They voted for Mitt Romney, I suspect, in big numbers. I voted for him too when I didn't know better, but now I know he's a complete rhino. But even knowing he was a rhino, he moved from Massachusetts, Mitt Romney being a Mormon who's become like an establishment rhino. I don't know how long he's been a rhino, but he was governor of Massachusetts, and then he moved from Massachusetts to Utah. He's rich. He has properties in various places. That's nice. But he moved there to Utah, which is way over on the other side of the country practically, or middle of the country anyway, center left. And he ran for Senate, and he got elected for Senate. It seems like double dipping in my opinion. Anyway, yeah, I like Mormons though. I like all people. But this is Patton Oswalt, this fat atheist comedian, who is part Italian, which means not normal white, part Irish, which means not normal white Christian, but also German, English, and Scottish. But by the first two, he's not a normal white Christian man. And he's not a Christian at all, in fact. He's an atheist. And he's bragging about it being an atheist. So he's like a subverted anti-American person. And he was named after General George S. Patton, who was a brave man, but this man is not brave. He says, I have an ego, but my ego is not big enough to think that people should die here in my stupid comedy. Well, you got one thing right, his comedy is probably stupid, my guess. What a girl, huh? He is grandstanding about being against Florida, basically, and another somewhat Christian or conservative state, Utah, because it's not forcing vaccinations and invasive information on your medical history. China virus test. But look at George S. Patton and think about how far we've fallen in America. I think that we've fallen quite far in America. I recognize that evil has been around and we're lied to about the good guys and the bad guys and everything else. But look at this man. Just looking at him, you think, that's an honorable man. He has a lot of ribbons, I recognize, which I get leery of ribbons. But it looks like he's a 4-star general. I see 4 stars. I think that means he's a 4-star general. That's fine. That's nice. And there was supposedly a movie about him that I haven't seen. I mean, I know there's a movie about him. Old school. But look at him. He's like dignified. And so his parents must have had a little bit of sense to name him after Patton, but this man is falling short. The Patton Oswalt, that is. George Patton. Look at this. Manlier times. Am I being naive in thinking that these were manlier times? I recognize that their establishment then may have been corrupt too. Probably was. People are leery about us getting into some of these wars. He himself said we should have continued fighting the commies. People say, oh, he was a Nazi sympathizer. I think he was an American. Look at it. They had a postage stamp for him, 3 cents. And now they're putting, like, black females on postage stamps. How embarrassing. Like, not sensible ones. Not, like, honorable ones. What a shame. Died under suspicion in an accident, says the good doctor. I've heard of that. I heard that. Italians are mixed. Look at them, says Emperor of Cats. Car crash, quote unquote. So, yeah. Car crash. Terrible. People softened by design. Yeah, I agree with that, David Singleton. That's why I think that all of this, people pretend, oh, the world is more peaceful. Crime has gone down since the 1990s. How was the crime in the 50s? The crime in the 50s was not nearly what it is even today. The per capita crime, because they're not looking at all the things. They're saying, oh, poverty. Poverty doesn't exist in America compared to what it was in the 50s. Poverty was huge in the 50s. So-called poverty, right? And yet the blacks and everybody were more peaceful, with exceptions, of course, a lot of exceptions. Terrible mess. So 100 million Americans could be facing forced vaccinations. I know people who are bearing up under these onerous requirements, wearing these masks, shaving their beards, men shaving their beards, and wearing these masks all day to be at work, and getting the weekly or twice weekly test up the nose because young men, are not sure about this thing. They're not sure about this thing. And plus, they're Christians. You should be led by God, not by men or women or phony Fauci, whatever that thing is, or sleazy Joe Biden, or the CDC, which changed the definition of vaccine. And by the way, here's a quick headline for you before I get to calls. Hang tight. Coming to Luke in Colorado next. He wants to talk about this crazy incident that I have not shown on my show, but I'll tell you about it. You may have heard about it. Teenage boys. This is from the Telegram. No, the Telegraph. Not to be confused with Telegram. The Telegraph is a British outlet, I think. Teenage boys are more at risk from vaccines than they are from COVID, according to this headline from the 9th of September of 2021. This is a mainstream liberal outlet. Far left, the Telegraph, I do believe. Scientists found young males are 6 times more likely to suffer from heart problems after being jabbed than be hospitalized from coronavirus. It's a report by Camilla Turner, an education editor for The Telegraph. It's a UK outlet. Isn't that interesting? Isn't that interesting? And yeah, I mean, that's what this is kind of in line with common sense and common experience, and what we've been told is that the younger people are not as at risk from this virus as what they pretend. Yeah, I know that supposedly child hospitalizations are up. They're at a record high, an all-time high for the virus specifically, right? Which you would expect, honestly, because for one thing, they say that the Delta thing is more contagious and it's had more time to spread. So, of course. And it's getting into being sick time now because we're headed towards the end of summer into fall. It's already cooling down a little bit at times, at least at night. In some cases, the days are kind of hot. And days are getting shorter. Kids are going back to school. Supposedly. So, I don't know. I'm leery about all this stuff. I'll tell you about the change in the vaccine definition from the CDC. You already heard about the change in vaccine definition from the dictionary. But, anyway, I got to get to some calls. Finally, Luke, a first-time caller in Colorado, wants to talk about something we talked about in the previous show, on the Jesse Lee Peterson show, just today. The Shell Station looting video. Luke, how are you doing?
How's it going, Hake?
Going well, thank you. Appreciate you hanging on there.
Oh, no problem. I just wanted to talk to you guys a little bit about your response to all those crazy blacks running in the gas station and kind of looting and taking whatever they wanted to, and the female cashier who kind of stood up to them.
My personal response specifically, you wanted to talk about?
All the experts' response, you and Nick and.
In that case, you should call the Jesse Lee Peterson show on that, so that the experts and Jesse can be involved in that.
Well, I mean, it was towards the end of the show, so I didn't have time to call in, but
you can definitely call next week, because that's going to be something to talk. I mean, it's worth showing again sometime, so don't fear that.
Right.
But I appreciate it's your first time calling. Go for it.
Okay. Well, I was just going to say. I understand your responses when you are basically saying, like, nobody should get killed over a candy bar, that there's dangers into trying to stop some of those people from doing some of those things. But
yeah.
I think that the reason why a lot of people are doing things like that more and more frequently is because of the lack of people standing up.
Yeah.
And I think that, as long as they do it in the right way, that more people should start standing up, even if there are repercussions for it, because right is right and wrong is wrong, no matter what the government says or the society says or whatever. If you know morally what's right and what's wrong, you can't be afraid to stand up for what is right, because that's how society ended up where it is right now today.
True. So you're talking also specifically about this video in which blacks are looting a Shell station convenience store, a gas station, petrol station for the foreigners, convenience store, and they're just they plow right through a youngish woman about my age or Chris's age or Nick's age or something like that, who's trying to defend her store and then close her store against these people, prevent one guy from walking out with swag that he stole, and then he just manhandles her. He just checks her hard and just walks right on out with no shame and with his pants hanging down below his underwear like a sicko.
Yeah, and I just think that people shouldn't be intimidated by evil. You have to stand up for it the right way. I mean, obviously you have to be cautious as to how you handle the situation, but you have to stand up in some way to these people and not be intimidated. Otherwise, the more people that lay down for these people, the more that they're going to take over. The more people that stand up, the less power that the evil has.
Yeah. I agree with that.
But
you think that she did it in the right way?
Closing the store, kicking them out and closing the store.
That part,
obviously it ended up with no violence, and
there was some violence. She stood in that man's way.
Well, against her, but I mean, obviously it could have been a lot worse violence, But it ended up, and it got on video. It got a little exposure, so I think it was handled in a fairly decent way. It could have been better or worse either way.
That crossed my mind too. Yeah,
but it's kind of the same thing, it's not necessarily, getting hurt over a
if she's
candy bar,
able-bodied. Go ahead. Sorry,
I was going to say it's the principle of things. Nobody stands up for the principle of things anymore. It's not that you're trying to save a soda, a fountain drink or a candy bar. But it's the principle that somebody comes into the store and does what they want and disrespects everything. At some point, people are going to just have to put their foot down and say, enough is enough. We're not going to allow this to happen anymore.
Yeah, I agree with that. If she knew that was going to happen, or if she was ready to be taken down like that from that guy, say she's able-bodied, she doesn't have a beta back, and she's like durable, and doesn't mind being taken down, I guess I'm okay with her getting herself shoved by that guy.
I mean, and it doesn't necessarily have to be in a violent way either, but at some point in time,
it should be. At some point, we need some violence to quell these people. We need the cops.
I mean,
the police are supposed to be brutal. The point of police, they're supposed to be brutes. They have brute strength.
I agree.
To brutalize the criminals.
I agree.
But now they say, police brutality, like it's a bad thing.
I agree. And in my wilder days or whatever, I've been on both sides of the law. And I can tell you, I can tell you that when I had police involvement, I deserved it.
Yeah.
Looking back on my life, I deserved it. And, but it teaches you a lesson.
Right.
And you grow from that lesson.
True.
And the reason why they make it, like you said, brutal or rough, or the reason why jail is not supposed to be a fun and friendly place is so that you learn from it and you don't want to go back there. It's not supposed to be a vacation,
Yes.
So as far as that's concerned, though,
how old are you, Luke?
I'm 36.
And then are you Hispanic or white or black or what?
I'm white.
Or Asian?
I'm not Asian, I'm white.
Can we play that video just to let the people see it? I'll let the people see it. This is from the Jesse Lee. I stole this from the Jesse Lee Peterson show. Enjoy out of control black behavior. And so you grew up in the Colorado area, right, Luke?
Yes, I grew up in the Colorado area.
Which that's a state.
I believe. I believe. I just believe that I just believe that when if the cops are not going to stand up for the people, then you will be seeing more vigilante justice. Which you don't want to see regular civilians going to jail for just defending what is right.
That's true. You don't want the good people going to jail for defending themselves and their property. I totally agree with that, but now we have a backwards world.
Right, like how a thief is allowed to sue for getting injured when they're trying to steal somebody's stuff. That it makes no sense to me.
Yeah. Esoteric says store owners probably figure better off putting in and dealing with insurance claim than getting mailed by angry black youth. And I don't know what he means by mailed, but whatever. Watch this clip and listen, audio podcast listeners. It's out of control.
No, you get out now. No. Get out now.
Nighttime. This has been going on for years.
No, I didn't finish all of this place is closed.
I mean, but I still got the soda.
Just trying to reason with it. Play it again. I want to see. Does it show the little girl getting smashed at the very beginning? Yeah, play it one more time and look for this little girl at the very beginning. Oh. Hey.
No! You get out now! No!
Ew.
Get out now!
That little Trayvon Martin
No,
guy.
this place is closed.
I didn't get here.
No, I didn't finish. I don't think this place is closed.
I mean, but I still got the soda.
So I guess you guys were right. I was, Luke, I was thinking that she was Hispanic, but I guess she's not Hispanic. She looks like she is white. I guess that might be her natural hair color. All right, she might have been. But at the very beginning, you see this little black girl smacked her head against the door because she got knocked by people running out, stealing. And this woman is trying to act like she has some authority, saying, "No, you get out now." But she's
and
trying.
she doesn't really have any authority in that situation, but at least she had no fear in that situation, you know?
Yeah, no, I respect her for that. But it's so blood boiling seeing that guy like shove her down and just walk on.
I mean, I just don't understand who does that. I mean, it, like you and Jesse say, you know, I mean, it goes back to the parents. I mean, who raises somebody to do something like that?
Blacks. It's been going on for years. There are
Right.
years of this type of footage invading gas station convenience stores. You see them, they're coming in like hordes. I remember seeing in Louisville, Kentucky, footage of them doing this. And they were so-called wilding. They were trying to pull people out of their cars, going into the gas station convenience store, breaking stuff, tearing stuff down, stealing. They're out of control, no love. And it's been going on forever, and it's not addressed in the mainstream at all.
No love, no morals.
Yeah, and nobody who's taking up for Black Lives Matter has any love for the blacks at all.
I agree.
Yeah. Robert E. Lee had more love for the blacks than any of these people who are taking down his statue, by the way.
Yeah, anybody who tells him the truth has love for him. That's for sure.
Yeah. Well, I appreciate it, man. I'm glad you brought that up because it's evil and it brings some clarity to, because this could have happened in any major city, or not even that major of a city.
Yeah, but I just want to say I love your show. I love Jesse's show, and I, you know, you have no fear either when the blacks call into your show and they want to be ignorant with you, and you kind of just hit them with, you hit them with the truth, you hit them with facts, and you know, then that's the point when they get angry and start mumbling and saying a bunch of stuff that doesn't make sense.
Yeah.
And so it proves you're right about most of it. So,
yeah.
Anyways, you guys are doing a great job, and I appreciate you guys standing up. It's what the world needs right now.
Thank you, Luke. Appreciate you. Take care, man.
No problem. Have a good one.
All right. Guys, some super chats. I got to read some super chats. Based AF over there on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. He states, and this is listen closely. It's a long one, and it's important. Government is adept at writing laws that bureaucrats easily and extra-legally alter. Reasonable people might believe that HIPAA, HIPAA, that's those HIPAA laws, the ones where you're supposed to have some right to privacy about your medical information, completely protects their private health information. In some cases, though, it doesn't. The first set of Weasel words, covered entity. Covered entity is a Weasel word, he says, based AF, based America First. And it actually does mean AF does stand for America First. I'm not just cleaning it up because I'm a Christian. He's a Christian too, and it means America First. Weasel word, the first Weasel words, covered entity, means most pop-up Vaxx locations are not HIPAA-covered entities. So they freely collect and distribute infection and Vaxx status, meaning they spread your business. Wow. The second set of Weasel words is life-threatening disease. Health information can be shared with governments if it pertains to the life-threatening disease list, which the HHS, Health and Human Services, a total misnomer, conveniently added COVID-19 as a life-threatening disease, even though it has 99% survivability rate. I hear. Is that true? Am I wrong? Maybe it's only 97%. Whoa, 3% death rate? That is extremely high. Well, it's compared to 50% life-threatening disease? Give me a break. Obesity is a life-threatening disease. Should they share all fat people's information? Give me a break. Governments send that, I mean, it's not a life-threatening disease, but some people call it a disease. Governments send that information, based in America First goes on, to contractors, big tech, that create apps, which are also not HIPAA-covered entities, and neither are most employers. Insidious. So I had a call late the other day, maybe yesterday or the day before, from Louis in Idaho, who I actually didn't get to him, but he wanted to talk about the HIPAA laws that say you're not supposed to be forced to share your personal information. Well, there are Weasel words that allow them to do whatever they want. It is so corrupt. Lawyers, deport them. Because they are enemies of America, many of them. Not all. There are some who are excellent, great people who are fighting for what's right. But majority of them, just like majority of people in general, sleazy, evil snakes. Not honest people. Life-threatening for the silent generation, says Esoteric. Yeah, and anybody who's like Gen X or more, or Gen X or older, who has not been taking care of themselves. Take care of yourselves, guys. Sleep enough. Exercise. Eat your veggies and fruits if that fits your plan for your diet plan. Some people are like meat only, right? I get it. Whatever, do that. But main thing is be healthy. And avoid large crowds. Anyway, guys, we should be like avoiding large crowds, period, thanks to the fact that this is not America anymore. I'm sorry, this is America? It's not America anymore. We have a whole bunch of refugees and immigrants and children of immigrants and second generation Muslims and others. And even now some whites are turning to like terrorism who might commit crazy terror attacks. So in general, I'm like leery of going to movie theaters and stuff because there are crazy attacks that happen. I never went to those gay nightclubs, but there's a crazy terror attack there. Even now, country music concerts in Las Vegas are at risk, or one was. What a mess, huh? Terrible. So, yeah, avoid the large crowds. Keep your personal space from people. Keep your head down. The Bible does talk about it's great to lead a quiet life. Yes, there's a time to speak out and be loud, but lead a quiet life, head down, and you can get by. Do not fear. You may not encounter what you're fearing, right? Anyway, large crowds. What was this? What did I just see? Are gross, says Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Crowd goes left, I be going right, says Kilo Alpha 1. Anyway, guys, Corbra Coy 99 with another thank you, Based AF, Based America First. The government and the sleazy people who run it. Jesse Lee Peterson has talked about it forever. They are enemies of the people, enemies of America. Even way back when. Corbra Coy 99 with a Trovo colorful chat. He says, Hake, you didn't look too sure on that gay nightclubs thing. Playing, LOL. I was just not sure about even mentioning it, but remember that gay nightclub, the Pulse nightclub shooting by the Muslim guy, the second-generation Muslim. He was the son of a Hillary Clinton supporter, a male Hillary Clinton supporter. Can you believe it? Sick stuff. That was in Orlando, Florida. That was in Orlando, huh? That gay nightclub shooting. Toby goes to gay nightclubs. Says Brandon M. Hydro gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report and said, do you think Maze or Joe or Chuck are embarrassed watching their people acting like animals? Yeah. Maybe so, or maybe not. One benefit that blacks do have, and I call it a benefit kind of facetiously, but it is something to learn from, can learn from evil people. They are not embarrassed about what other people do who are so-called their people. Only when they are so-called victimized by whites or cops do they jump all over it like lemmings ordered around by the Pied Piper of the mainstream media. I'm mixing metaphors here. I don't think so. I don't think that they are embarrassed. Maybe they are a little bit, and then they get defensive. But that's why you shouldn't identify into your blackness or whiteness. Because people will try to say, oh, whites are committing suicide. Like I ever committed suicide. Give me a break. Yes, it's wrong, and it is a growing problem. But it's trying to get under your skin and get you to be like them in identifying, like every white person is Hake. Cobra Koi 99 says, we haven't heard from Earl. Maybe he took the Vaxx. Whoa. Maybe so. I don't know. Pray for Earl. Or maybe don't. Maybe it's too late. I wonder if we will hear from Earl again, or whether he's passed on or what. Wow. Wow. Let me get to a call. Nick, over there in the UK, the great UK, once great anyway, can be great again. First-time caller, Nick. How are you doing, man? Are you there? Nico. I mean, not Nico. Nick, come off of mute. Are you on mute? Hake has gentrified black shamelessness. Yeah. Okay, I'm going to put Nick back on hold. Nick, check on Nick. Or whoever. Thank you. Hang on, callers. I will get back to you. Back to this shamelessness thing. I didn't finish my point. We should be shameless about what's right. Like the Talibased? The Talachad? I saw people. I hear that Taliban is evil, and I believe that. I think that they're evil. But they don't have the cultural the cultural rot that we have going on. They have other cultural rot going on. They don't have this fake idea of, oh, we need to give women equality. Give me a break. They have no women on their government. And they're whipping the women protesters who are just nagging and annoying. And that makes for kind of bad PR, supposedly, because the mainstream media is so female-minded and soft. And I really think that had this China virus happened, let's say 200 years ago, or 100 years ago, even, maybe. A worse virus, I believe, happened 100 years ago. That was actually really deadly, I think. Was the Spanish flu more deadly, I think? We'll try Nick in a second. Nick from UK, he's not responding. Poor guy. He's calling from the UK. There was another overseas caller. But I wonder how the society, back when we were manlier, would have responded to this not very deadly China virus. For one, we weren't so populated. We weren't so overrun. We weren't so unhealthy. We weren't so fat and at risk from viruses like this. And main thing, in my opinion, is we were manlier, we were tougher, I think. I say we, I'm meaning they, generations ago, Americans or people, period, around the world, weren't so like female-minded, overprotective, soft. Oh, don't let them suffer. 1% of people are dying roughly, or even less than 1% of people are dying. Well, how would it have been? I want the answer. Yeah, the Spanish flu was worse than this virus, says Crazy Mother Dance, according to her, which I believe women. This woman. So, Spanish flu was another hoax, says one. Most people died from bacterial pneumonia from forced masking. Fauci wrote a paper on it, says Nazareth. I had not heard that take before, and I don't know it to be true, but look into it if you are so interested. There's a lot of measures that are taken that are, okay, Nick from the UK is not there. We'll have to hang up on him. Sorry, Nick. There's a lot of unintended consequences that take place with these things. Let's face it, all history is fake, says Ian Davison. Maybe so. Weaponized medicine. And like I said, the long-term results of this vaccine, the long-term effects, it hasn't been around that long, so we don't know what it's going to do 5 years from now. They're still looking at it. But they think that since it does provide some protection for some people, most people, some measure of protection, that it's worth doing. From female-minded liberal thinkers who don't want you to have your freedom. Trump says you have your freedoms. Get this, but you have your freedoms. What a mess. We are, let me get to John in Kentucky. We are coming to the top of the hour. John in Kentucky, how are you doing? Turn off your speakerphone. John in Kentucky is not ready. What a mess. What's up with the callers? Anyway, guys, we are at 2 minutes till. Let me go ahead and take a quick break. Speaking of mumbo jumbo, this is a song which I do not necessarily endorse, from the Knights of the New Crusade, the last one of the week, maybe the last one ever. Except I may play, by popular demand, Ain't No Monkeys in My Family Tree again someday, which was a great one from My God Is Alive, Sorry About Yours, 2004 album from the Knights of the New Crusade. But this track is entitled Night Beat, Speaking in the Holy Spirit. And it reminds me of that knockoff from the Talking Heads song that Joel used to play, because it's a whole lot of mumbo jumbo. And I will get to calls. John in Kentucky is up next after this brief break. Enjoy or mute, grin and bear it, cover your ears, and I'll be back for hour 2. Hang tight, guys.
Cool.
This is not satanic or the Holy Spirit. It's the Mexican spirit, says Linian Chin. Whoa. Disturbing. Gary Dworkin. You know it's bad when you can't keep viewers with your dialogue, so you have to play bad music. Terrible. Well, guys, that's the Knights of the New Crusade. Why don't you just cut your hair into a mohawk? Anyway, that was the Knights of the New Crusade pretending like they were singing in the Holy Spirit. Maybe he thought he really was. Maybe he really thought he was. Do you understand what this guy is saying? Asks Mari Uvaldo. By the way, did you catch Kickflip Chris's pronunciation of your name? I spelled it out in a way that he can pronounce it correctly. Modduvaldlo. Mari Uvaldo. Real spelling is N. Well, anyway, I don't want to dox her. I already doxed her. But anyway, hope you appreciated that. Hake, seriously, this is beyond awful. Not you, Siri. Yeah. Hake is blocked. That's Knights of the New Crusade. I don't endorse speaking in tongues. If you listened to Jesse Lee Peterson's interview from 2003, 2004, with a Seventh-day Adventist from the God's Learning channel, YouTube, I think it's on there. We need to add those newer God's Learning channel interviews to the God's Learning channel playlist. But on the Jesse Lee Peterson YouTube channel, he interviewed a Seventh-day Adventist man who talked about the speaking in tongues thing and how if you can't understand it, that is a sign that it's not real. That's what he says. Anyway, let me get back to John in Kentucky. He's been on hold. He wasn't quite ready. He wasn't ready at all when I went to him before the top of the hour. So here he is now. How are you doing, John?
I'm good, man. I'm good.
You're not good? No man is good.
Do you really like that music, man?
That last song, I was not a fan of. But the song before it, and generally most of the Knights of the New Crusade songs that I've played, I really like, yeah.
I almost hung up 10 times listening to that song, waiting on you to come back.
I don't blame you on that one. On that particular one, it sounds kind of disturbing. Devilish.
Devil worship. Devil worship.
But it's supposed to be praying in the Holy Spirit. You ever heard of
them people white?
You ever heard of speaking in tongues?
White? Are those people white singing that song?
Yeah.
I doubt that's the Holy Spirit then. Devil worship.
But you have heard of praying in the Holy Spirit, right? Praying in the Spirit?
Yeah, I don't believe in that, though.
Yeah.
And all that talking in tongues and all that, I think that's show, put on for show.
What about when it happened in Acts, the book of Acts? Was that real?
Explain the story quickly.
Well, the Holy Spirit came down like a tongue of fire or something like that on the apostles, and they spoke in tongues, and the people listening, the people could hear them speaking in their own native language. So they understood.
So I don't believe that was talking in tongues. The way them guys were talking, I believe that they heard in their own language.
Right.
I believe I believe they were hearing their own language.
Yep.
But I don't think it was all that mumbo jumbo, all that stuff. They was just.
I agree with you.
Going. But man, I just wanted to share with you my thoughts on America. I want to ask you: do you think America is a white country, even though we've been emancipated, so-called, and then you have Asian Americans, Hispanic Americans? Do you think America is a white country?
Yeah.
You do?
Yeah.
So if you had it your way, it'd just be completely white?
No, I don't know about completely white. I mean, we brought you guys here, and so we let you guys stay if you behave. And
oh, that sounds bad, but
it doesn't sound. But what's bad about that? Shouldn't you behave?
You sound like you're somebody's parent or something. Like you have authority over another race of people. That's what you feel like. I mean, that's what it sounds like.
Well, shouldn't we? If we're a white country and whites are supposed to run their own country, aren't they supposed to have authority over? You're a man. You should have authority over your family to make them behave. It's not as though whites are telling you to do something wrong. They're telling you to do something right. But
behave, though, it's like you're. I mean, every nation has its laws and stuff.
Right.
So that's all.
And those laws originally were for what's right. It's when I say behave. It
sound like you're talking to a child, though.
But blacks, look at how they've been acting. They've been acting out, not like grown adults. That's what I mean.
I don't go with the whole notion of blacks because we ain't all the same. So every time y'all say that, I just.
But look at those guys who are black who have been acting out.
Yeah.
Let's say you've never rioted or committed crimes or anything else.
Never will.
Nice. But look at all the people who are doing it, and they're black. Like you, I have
not.
I've seen
not the majority of blacks.
I know, but it's way out of control. And every time it happens, it's blacks. You rarely see.
Every time it happens?
Practically every time it happens, this convenience store stuff. Yeah, every now and then you do see Hispanics. And then sometimes whites.
Those are very poor blacks. And they're
not poor. They are not poor. They're not poor.
How are they not poor?
First of all, most people, I don't believe anybody in America is truly poor.
Yeah, see, I don't understand that.
Well, look at how spoiled they are. That guy had Jordans on. Well, I don't know if he had Jordans on, but he was doing fine. He did not need to be stealing. They're not stealing because they're poor. They're poor in spirit. They have poor morals.
I guarantee you, he goes home. He's probably going home to public housing, and then his house is full of food from food stamps.
Exactly. They're not poor then.
That's poor.
That's not poor. That's spoiled.
Poor,
that's spoiled.
Well, anyway,
yeah.
Look, when I was growing up, I used to take pride in America. You know, we had these little plays we used to put on to show how we had pride for our nation. And then as you get older and you mature and you just look at things as the way they are, you see that everything's a lie. Pretty much everything. All that stuff is a lie. All the people who have run the country, they're evil. Everybody. I don't know, not good. Obama included. So now as a man, things that I've learned, I look at America as spiritual Babylon, and I think God himself is causing all this commotion so that America falls. And that's what I believe. And I believe he's going to rebuild it to the way he wants it. It's not going to be called America anymore. And what do you think about that?
I think you're jumping to conclusions about stuff that you don't know for sure. Yes, a lot of what you heard was a lie. I don't know why you accepted the lie that poverty causes crime or whatever you believe about these people who are supposedly poor.
It's been studied.
So why are you believing these studies? They're liars too. They're a bunch of liars. It does not cause crime, first of all.
Liars. Y'all think everybody's liars.
But this one specifically, why do you buy this lie if you accept that the establishment is...
It just makes sense.
It does not
make sense.
It makes sense to you, huh? That makes sense to you.
It makes sense.
And you believe in God.
I grew up in poverty, and I saw my friends like they didn't really have anything, so they did bad stuff for fun. You know what I mean? I had a father in my life, so it was different for me.
So then poverty doesn't cause crime. It's the fatherlessness if anything.
The poverty is contributes to it, though. It's just not only the father. The father contributes also. I mean, the missing father contributes also.
Listen,
but poverty pays to play.
According to this,
plays a part.
According to like Thomas Sowell or one of those guys, when blacks have a father and mother, the poverty issue is almost non-existent when they have the father and mother together.
I agree. That's common sense.
So then it's not poverty. Poverty does not cause crime. It is there. It goes together with crime.
If you have only the mom, you got poverty.
No, not true, man.
Man, it is true.
No.
If you have a mom with 3 kids, more likely she's not going to be able to do anything to have money. She's going to be under the poverty line.
So then that's the mother's. That's what I'm telling you. That's the mother's fault, and it's the mother's and father's fault. It's not the poverty that's causing the crime.
No matter whose fault it is, if they're in poverty, you're gonna have things like this happen, though.
But that's not necessarily true. Not necessarily true, man. John, Jesse Lee Peterson grew up under a tin roof with an outhouse. He didn't even know he was poor, but they were so-called poor. But they were not subsidized. What? They were not subsidized, and they had the 2 parents, or grandparents anyway, together raising the children right. And so they had morals. Poverty does not cause crime.
Poverty does cause crime.
No, it does not.
Not solely, man. It doesn't solely. But if you came up like I came up and you were able to see it firsthand, you would understand. But you don't understand.
No, because you're the one who's jumping to conclusions because you believe the studies from the intellectuals who deceive you.
I don't go with y'all's whole philosophy on intellectuals because Jesse.
But you just admitted that the establishment lies, but you buy their lie.
Look, all of them. Listen. Just because I believe that poverty causes people to go and act out and do crime, I don't have to believe everything that politicians say.
How did poverty cause those kids to run wild?
If you want, listen, try to understand where I'm coming from. When I was coming up and we were super poor,
this specifically.
Listen.
Go for it.
Listen, because it was kids like that I grew up with. They didn't have anything to do. When you looked into town, they had nothing to do. They used to run around stealing bikes.
That has nothing to do with poverty. Having nothing to do has nothing to do with poverty.
I'm telling you, when you're not in poverty, you'll be able to do so many more things to keep you occupied, and you'll find fun in life. But when you're in poverty and you look around and you see that you don't have nothing, you start to not even care. That's what I'm trying to tell you.
You can play a game. It doesn't cost any money to go play a game rather than going wild and stealing stuff. You're not thinking clearly.
Poverty, so you don't know.
I don't care what you say. It's not logical to pretend that poverty causes crime.
But I understand because I've seen kids do it.
So have I. It didn't mean that poverty caused them to do it.
Come out of the hood. Huh?
Did you commit crimes when you were so-called poor?
No, I had a father that would.
So you just admitted that it has nothing to do with poverty.
I don't think you're getting what I'm saying, man.
You're saying that it's a contributing factor because it adds to the temptation because they don't have stuff.
Yeah.
Except that's not even what you said. You said they have nothing to do. There's always something to do.
You're saying that if the father's not in the house, that solely contributes to kids committing crime.
I didn't say that. I didn't say that. I did not say that.
So both of them can't play a part?
Poverty may add to the temptation, say you don't have something, but these people are not doing it because they don't have something.
That's my point. That's my point right there.
But that's not a cause. That's an added temptation. And
temptation is a cause.
And by the way, that's their own fault. Not the kid's fault, but the parents' fault.
Do you think white people are losing their country, though? Do you think white people are losing their country?
Let me finish this poverty thing because it's so fake. It's the parents. You just
made my point, though.
It's the parents. I did not make your point because you did not have a point.
You say contributed, so that was my point.
It may contribute to the temptation, but it doesn't have any. You said they have nothing to do. That has nothing to do with poverty.
Yes, it does.
No, it does not.
Kids that live in the suburbs They have things to do.
You have plenty
nice
to do.
parks.
You can play in the street.
They
You don't
have
have
nice
to
parks.
rob and steal
Play
and
in the street.
assault.
Do you think if you were growing up and all you had was a street,
You are making
you're gonna find
excuses.
something to do. You're gonna find something to do.
You are making excuses.
But it's real life.
Is
how it
real
is.
life means those bad parents are what cause those kids to commit crimes. It's not poverty.
Not solely, man. Not
Yes,
solely.
solely.
No.
Yes.
Solely.
Yes.
But do you think whites
You're
are losing
making
their country,
excuses. This is the
Hey, man.
problem with blacks, making excuses.
man? You putting all of us in the same category again.
No,
But,
because you're putting yourself in that category by making
Answer
excuses.
the question, Hake.
You are putting yourself in that category by making excuses for the poor black kids because they have nothing to do, so they're
Yeah.
going to go wild
No
and assault
opportunity.
people.
No
You make no
opportunity.
sense whatsoever.
You just don't understand.
No,
That's
you're
all.
the one who doesn't understand. You bought the lies that you pretend to be above it all, and now you're jumping to conclusions saying,
Hey, man,
God,
do you think whites
God
are
is
losing their
condemning
country?
America.
That's true.
You don't know that. You don't even know
Do you
God.
think,
You don't even
do you
believe
think
in
whites
God.
are-
You believe
do
that
you
poverty.
think whites are losing their country?
Yes, that's not meaning. That doesn't mean God is condemning America.
Yes, he is.
You don't know
America
that.
is
You don't even
evil.
know God.
America is
You don't even
evil.
believe in God. You believe that poverty causes crime.
I definitely believe in God.
No, you do not. You
And
definitely
I
do not.
believe in the Bible, unlike y'all's church. Y'all
See, if you
like
believe in the
5%
Bible, you don't
of the Bible.
believe in God.
Well,
you
who do
can't
think
believe
that
in
the
both.
Bible was inspired by?
It was inspired. It
The
was
Bible-
inspired by men who were inspired by
God.
God. It was written by men who
Right.
were inspired by God. But you're misinterpreting everything that you see. You don't
No,
even have
sir.
eyes to see.
No, you don't have eyes to see. Do you believe in the Bible?
No, I believe in God
So you don't believe in the Bible. So why do you use the Bible? Why do you quote
because
scripture?
it was written by men who were inspired by God. I don't jump to false conclusions about what it says like you do.
So the things in the Bible, you look at it and you say that's not true. This is true. That's not true. This is true.
No, you're the one who's picking and choosing.
I believe in the entire Bible.
No, you do not.
I believe.
You think you
I
do,
believe where it says. I believe where it says the last will be first and the first shall be last.
and you
I
have no
definitely
idea
believe
what that means. You have no clue.
Yes, I do. Yes,
No,
I
you do not.
It means you're going into slavery. That's what it
See,
means.
you have no idea. You're just jumping to conclusions. You don't know the future.
Hey, that's what it means. If you go by the Bible, I know y'all Christians don't believe in Revelations, though. Do y'all?
I don't know what you're talking about.
Does your church, Jesse Lee Peterson's church of 25 people, believe in Revelations?
Why are you being nasty? Why are you being a woman?
How am I being a woman?
You're making up stuff that's not even true.
How many members y'all got?
It's not your business, first of all, but there's like 1,000 people tuning into church every week.
So 1,000 people out of 7 billion, y'all the only ones going to heaven.
I did not say that I didn't say any of us were going to heaven.
Y'all tell people to suffer and die if we don't believe like y'all believe.
No,
And it's only
no.
1,000 of y'all.
You're nonsensical. Do you believe the part of the Bible that requires you to be perfect?
Perfect in the sense that you keep the commandments. Not perfect as in you do everything 100% correctly. That's what people...
It's a yes or no question, buddy.
Perfect. Well, you have to understand, though.
It's a yes or no question.
Perfect in the sense of keeping all his
So
commandments.
you keep the commandments?
Yes.
No, you do not.
How are you going to tell me?
Because first of all, you don't
Tell
even
me.
believe in God. You don't believe in God.
I believe in God.
You don't love your neighbor.
I believe...
You don't love your
believe in
neighbor.
Yahweh.
You
I don't
lied.
believe
You just
in
lied against your
what you
neighbor.
believe.
You lied against Jesse's church.
How did I lie against Jesse Church?
You said, oh, it's 25 members and you think you're all going to heaven.
I
We
was
didn't
just
even
being
say anything about
sarcastic.
heaven.
That's not a lie. That was
Yes, it is a
sarcasm.
lie.
That's not a lie.
That's a smear. Like a woman.
Is there any other church in the world like y'all's church?
Yes.
Can you give me the name of it so I can look it up?
No.
Why not?
Because you're petty. You're not. You
I
don't
wanna-
have.
I wanna
You're
do
not
some research.
open.
I want to see what y'all believe.
You don't
versus
have
what I
eyes to
believe.
see. What we believe is
I
very
cannot
plain, but
see
you
what
aren't.
y'all see.
You do not see. You believe
Jesse does.
you believe in an atheistic, communistic idea of materialism. Oh, poverty causes crime, and you make
True.
excuses for black out of control
It
behavior.
contributes to
Pretending
crime.
you're
it contributes
You
to
make
crime.
you're making excuses for black out of control behavior. They're not poor. They're not committing crimes because they're poor. They are.
What percentage of blacks
They are
is doing
immoral. They are immoral, and so they are
that?
poor.
What percentage? What
They are
percentage?
immoral. Hold on, John. They're immoral, and so they are poor. They are
What
immoral.
percentage of blacks?
They are immoral, and so they are so-called poor, which they're not even poor. They're spoiled.
What percentage of blacks are like that? Like the ones you saw in that grocery.
You are like that. You are like that. You're
No,
making
sir.
excuses for
No,
black
sir.
behavior. Are you not
whites
making
are the same
excuses?
way.
Are you not making
whites-
excuses?
You know, whites are the same way.
How
that
are you
in
not
poverty,
making
right?
excuses?
You know, whites are the same way that are in poverty, right?
Not
They
true.
commit a lot of
Not
crime.
true.
Yeah, they do.
Not true.
Yes, they do.
No. False.
White.
It's utterly false.
And
You can
James,
find
also
blacks are 3 times as likely to be poor as whites, but they're way more likely
I wonder
to
why.
be
I wonder
caught.
why.
Hold on, man.
Well,
Hold on, man. You don't even listen. What a woman.
hey man, don't get angry, man. Don't get angry.
You don't listen. You're a woman.
Don't get angry. That's a beta quality.
Why are you pretending to be
Keep
like
it
Jesse
cool.
then?
Keep
If
it
you don't
cool.
believe in what Jesse says, why are you repeating his phrases?
What, beta quality?
No, talking about don't be angry.
Yeah, don't be angry. I'm just using
All right,
your,
John, you're a waste of
your
time.
against-
Goodbye, buddy. Goodbye, because you don't even want to have a real conversation with me.
Hey, I'm having a conversation.
No, you're
with
not.
you,
You're
but
not.
You get angry. You
No,
get
you're not.
angry. You turning pink and red
All right.
right now.
All right, adios. What a phony. Beta communication skills, says Buffy the Vampire Slayer. Making excuses for evil. The point I was making was whites are 3 times as likely to be not in poverty. Blacks are 3 times as likely supposedly to be in poverty. Supposedly. So-called poverty. It's not even real poverty. Maybe it's only twice as likely. But they're many, 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 many more times likely to be committing these wilding crimes. Mob violence. Because they have excuses. They have the excuse of racism. They have the excuse of this fake poverty thing, which is an atheistic mindset. Poverty does not cause crime. The immorality causes them. James, you take too long to hang up. Come on, man. The immorality causes the crime, which causes the poverty. What a mess. 98% make excuses for the 1% that commit crime. It's more than 1%. And most of them get away with it. How many of those black wilding people are going to jail? I would say most of them don't. Cheesehead69 says, whites in poverty commit crime at lower rates than blacks with wealth. Therefore, poverty does not cause crime. That's what Cheesehead69 says. What a mess. Hey, do you love white people? If I love anybody, I love white people. I don't know if I love white people. Hydro gave a super chat on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Black males are not smart. This is why the black women leads the black communities. Maybe. Jacob Edgerton gave a super chat with a request, a guest request. Thank you, Jacob Edgerton. I appreciate it. Superfluity gave a super chat, lots of super chats actually, and said, my mom grew up in Germany during the Nazi era, and says the blacks treat whites way worse than they treated the Jews, than the Nazis treated the Jews. And she watches the video you just showed. Interesting. You're talking about the common people? Interesting. Hydro says, oh no, I read that one from Hydro already. Zombie Earl says, Hake. These are some super chats on streamlabs.com/the Hake Report. Let's turn on some AC in here. Turn on the air. Hake, your trash music is more pure cringe than usual. This toddler babbling that evangelical sillies do is embarrassing and the furthest thing from Christianity. Well, thank you, Zombie Earl. I agree with that. I just felt that it was a nice conversation piece. 3.5 minutes long, which is 3.5 minutes maybe too long, or 3 minutes too long. Anyway, thank you guys for the super chats. Thank you, Superfluity. Yeah, I do believe that's the case. Blacks hate whites. You heard John from Kentucky. So blind that he can't see the curse on his own people that he identifies with because they're poor and black. Pathetic. But I guess you don't I guess that's what happens when you try to reason with people on an intellectual level. That's why you can't be intellectual. What a mess. Jesse didn't invent the word angry, James. Well, it was quite obvious that this guy is talking about don't be angry. It's a beta quality. It's clear that he's trying to pretend that mocking like he agrees with JLP. A total phony. I hope Toby calls in, says Ledge Clear. Maybe I should call him Toady. Toady. Speaking of Jeremiah from Louisiana. How are you doing, Jeremiah?
I didn't expect it.
Oh, you're not ready. Jeremiah, your phone's breaking up. I'll put you on hold and we'll get your phone squared away. Hang on, man. I have some more stuff to get to, guys. Man, what's up with the callers? Too many Obama phones. Or are they Biden phones now? Same thing. Still Obama, right? Still Obama in charge from a basement. Someone gave a super chat on streamlabs.com and / the Hake Report. Chuck is greater than Jeremiah, is greater than Dula from Detroit, is greater than or equal to Tony, is greater than John. Wow, so she's saying John is the worst? Jeremiah from Louisiana, was it Louisiana he was calling from? Yeah. He hung up. Thank you, someone over there on streamlabs.com / the Hake Report. I will get to more calls. Hang tight, guys. But listen to this. Vax madness. The CDC has changed the definition of the vaccine so it can't be interpreted to mean that vaccines are 100% effective, which they are not. In fact, I do believe they are much less than 100% effective. Much, much less. Maybe than ever. Maybe than ever. And the CDC is the Centers for Disease Control and Prevention. And they previously defined it as something that produces immunity to a specific disease. But now it reads, it's a preparation. Okay, here's what the old definition was from 2015 to 2021. A product that stimulates a person's immune system to produce immunity to a specific disease, protecting that person from a disease. Vaccination is to produce immunity. Earlier versions of the definition of vaccine included immunity in the definition. But the new definition from the CDC now reads a preparation that is used to stimulate the body's immune response against diseases. And a vaccination is being defined as being to produce protection from a specific disease. To produce protection. Critics say this is because the so-called vaccines are less effective against the Delta variant, the India mutation, which is much more contagious. But I hear it might be less deadly. Is that true? More contagious, but less deadly? Is it so much more contagious that it's killing the same number of people? I don't even think that's true. I don't think so. But hospitalizations are supposedly going up. And I think it's whatever. The great Sharyl Attkisson. Sharyl, Sharryl, Attkisson, Attkisson, who has appeared on the Jesse Lee Peterson show some years back, by the way, former CBS News reporter. Said the new definition was made to, quote, meet the declining ability of some of today's, quote unquote, vaccines, including the China virus vaccine. So it's not just the China virus vaccine, because there is a declining ability of some of these vaccines. And I suspect that it might be because of all this diversity that we have in the world, especially in white countries, right? After the China virus vaccines were introduced, and it was discovered they do not necessarily prevent disease or provide immunity, the CDC altered the definition, she says, of vaccines again to say that they merely produce protection. Wow. Thomas Massey, he was all over it on Twitter. He is as you may know, he's a representative out of Kentucky. Thomas Massey, a congressman. A Republican. He's the chair of the Second Amendment Caucus, by the way. And he said, check out the CDC's evolving definition of, quote-unquote, vaccination. They've been busy at the Ministry of Truth. Pre-2015, vaccination means injection of a killed or weakened infectious organism in order to prevent the disease. Wow. That's old school. Vaccination 2015 to 2021 is the act of introducing a vaccine into the body to produce immunity to a specific disease. Now, September 2021, vaccination is the act of introducing a vaccine into the body to produce protection from a specific disease. Some level of protection. Meaning, you get this so-called vaccine, and you'll still catch it, maybe, probably, but you will suffer a little bit less from it, supposedly. But there may be side effects, possibly. And we don't know the long-term consequences. So no longer is it a killed or weakened infectious organism in order to prevent the disease. It is all kinds of shenanigans. Messenger RNA stuff, changing the DNA, and all that. Isn't that interesting? And it's less and less effective than others, than ever. Crazy, huh? And young males are 6 times more likely to suffer from heart problems after being jabbed than be hospitalized from the coronavirus, teenagers specifically, according to the Telegraph. A major study has found. Children who face the highest risk of cardiac adverse events are boys between 12 and 15 following 2 doses of a vaccine, according to new research from America. Findings came from Professor Chris Whitty, England's chief medical officer, but I guess he was in America researching, prepares to advise ministers on whether there is a wider benefit to society from vaccinating youngsters. What a mess. Last week, the Joint Committee on Vaccination and Immunization delivered its long-awaited verdict saying the margin of benefit of jabbing 12 to 15-year-olds was considered too small and cited low risk to healthy children from the virus. And meanwhile, I told you in Hake News at the end of hour 2 of the Jesse Lee Peterson show, not necessarily heart attacks, Free Ross, not necessarily heart attacks. They call it heart inflammation. Heart inflammation. Eat well, live long, says OD Red Skull. I agree with that. Eat right. Cuba is vaccinating 2-year-olds. 2-year-olds. What in the world? And the establishment who are pushing this stuff, they don't care if it hurts you. They figure it's for the greater good. The greater good. Pretty sick stuff, I say. I still have to talk about the Islamophobia. Tomorrow is 9/11, guys. Happy 9/11. Let me get back to Jeremiah, who's been on hold. He called back. He was in a spotty area in the boonies. Jeremiah in Louisiana, how are you?
What's going on? Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
All right, good. What's going on, Hank? How you doing?
Fine, thank you.
Yeah, I heard one of your callers after I called, he was talking about Job.
Job?
He said something about Job being Esau's grandson. I know that's a little bit above your pay grade, but I wanted to clarify that for him.
Go ahead and clarify that for him. Above my pay grade.
So he's saying, I'm thinking he's talking about Jobab in Genesis. He's probably talking about Jobab or Jobab. It's in Genesis. He in
Sounds
Genesis,
like a guy from the South.
Same Job. It ain't the same Job though. Whoever that was, he sounds like he know a little bit though. He do know. I give him that. He knows something, but at least he know who the chosen is.
Meaningless genealogies. Doesn't the Bible warn about getting into meaningless genealogies?
But if it's in the book, then it has to mean that's all the meaning you need. You know what I'm saying? If it's
I don't know what you're saying.
That's what you need.
I don't know what you're saying.
Genealogy is that's irrelevant. You're right, because it's endless. You know what I'm saying? What's the conclusion of the whole matter, though, Hank? Endless books is weary your mind, right? But
right.
What's the conclusion of the whole matter?
What a mess.
What's the conclusion of the whole matter?
That we have to love God first.
How do you love God?
By having Him only.
No.
Yep.
How do you love God? How do you love God?
How do you love God? I just told you.
You keep His commandments. You keep His commandments.
But you don't do that.
That's how you love God.
But you don't do that.
Yes, I do.
No, you don't.
Talking about? How you know? You don't know me.
You don't love God. You don't even love your neighbor.
You don't do it.
I know how the overflow of your mouth speaks.
I love my brethren. I definitely love my brethren.
No, you don't.
Just because I don't love you, Hank, don't get mad. I'll just tell you the truth.
Jesus said to love your enemies.
It's not.
Did Jesus not say to love your enemies?
Yeah, he's talking about your brethren.
See, you're phony.
Going on
Total excuses.
Times, you know that,
typical
right?
black.
The
Typical black alert.
Issue is a political
typical
thing
phony black alert.
You can't fix it. Y'all just make it worse on
empty
us.
person. Empty person alert.
You can shout over me all you want, Hank, but
because you're not real. You're phony. Everybody can see right through your phoniness.
I understand the black on black crime.
Everybody can see through your phoniness.
I understand that. We go to the streets and teach our brethren that's wrong.
See,
you know what I'm saying? The drug game is wrong. Prostitution is wrong. You know what I'm saying? Adultery is wrong.
You have all that, but no love.
Smoking is wrong. I mean,
all of that. You have all that stuff, but no love.
Like I said, I love my brethren.
No, you don't.
You know what I'm saying?
You do not.
I don't love
do you love JLP?
I'm sorry. I've loved you long enough.
Do you love JLP?
Yeah, I do. I love JLP.
Liar, you're liar.
Get out of Esau mindset. He done let Esau brainwash just like everybody that.
Man, you're the one brainwashed. It's so laughable hearing you say Jesse Lee Peterson is brainwashed.
Hank, I read your spirit in Psalm 73.
You did not read my spirit. You read the Bible.
That was your spirit.
You read the Bible and you have no idea what you're talking about.
Directly. That was your spirit.
You're an empty, vapid, insecure, black Hebrew Israelite. Black Hebrew Israelite.
It's not black, sir. It's not black, son.
Yeah, you are.
It's not black.
Did you call me son?
Okay.
Did you call me son?
You want to call
Did you call me son?
Black. I will call you pink.
Did you call me son?
I try to respect you first.
Did you call me son?
I tried to.
Did you call me son? It's a yes or no question, buddy.
Yeah, I did. Yes, I did.
See, and yet you don't love me.
How do I not? Why am I?
You just admitted you don't love me, and then you call me son.
Why am I supposed to love you, Hank?
If I'm your son, you're supposed to love me.
You're acting like my son. Or you're acting like Edomite, son. You're acting like my son. Yeah, for real. But yeah, back onto this Job thing, right? So onto the Job, right?
No, I don't care about Job. It's dumb.
Oh, you don't care about? Oh man, I thought you liked the Bible, man. I
just plainly told that guy. If you listened to the show, when I encountered that call, I said, "Who cares?"
Christians don't like the Bible. That's new to me.
That's not what I said. That's not what I said. So you're a liar. Now you're bearing false witness against thy neighbor. You don't care
about Job.
You're breaking the commandments.
Job was in the Bible.
This is so empty.
If you don't care about Job, how are you immature like that? For real, you 40? Are you seriously 40?
How old are you?
I'm 35. I thought
And
we
you're
already
quite
said
immature,
something
man.
Huh?
You're quite immature, too.
But you 40, and you an Edomite. You supposed to lead by example. You rule the world. You supposed to lead by example. You got to get your attitude right, man. You know what I'm saying?
All right.
For real. Seriously, I'm looking out for you, Hank.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Anything else?
Yeah. So did you look up Acts where it says Simeon and Barnabas were called Niger?
No, I didn't look that up. I can't
You
be
need to
interested.
look that up. But I know you don't like the Bible. You just, you know what I'm saying? You don't.
That's not
read
what
the
I
Bible.
said.
You just
That's
like
not what
the
I
folk
said.
stuff. You said it wasn't in there.
I didn't. I said I don't care. But you're all
Okay,
into
so
the
do you
black
care
thing.
that Barnabas and Simeon
You're
were called
shallow
Niger?
and empty and into the black thing, Jeremiah.
Do you care that Barnabas and
I gotta go. What a boring person. What in the world? Thank you for your call, Jeremiah. Thank you for your call, John. Is John a black Hebrew Israelite too? Isn't that silence kind of refreshing? So refreshing. Let me get to Vincent. Vincent from San Francisco, California. How are you doing, man?
Hey, Jeremiah.
I'm not Jeremiah, man.
I know the guy you were talking to a moment ago.
Yeah.
that was a joy, wasn't it?
No.
Louisiana, God bless them all down there, though.
Man, how far has the South fallen? John from Kentucky, Jeremiah from Louisiana. Back in the olden days, the blacks from the South were more sensible. I think
and
there's
we got
some
the blacks in California voting for a layer elder, we're now called white supremacists.
Yeah.
I don't know. We can't win.
Yeah.
We just can't win. Can't win.
Have you called in before?
I did. I called on the first, my birthday.
Okay.
Second time calling. Yeah.
Nice. It's my birthday too.
Today?
The 17th of July.
Ah, July.
He's not in on
Happy
the meme.
belated birthday.
Thank
then.
you. I appreciate that.
Anyway.
Anyway.
Where's Jesse? Where's Jesse? Oh, I'm sorry. This is the Hake Report. Anyway.
What the heck?
Actually, my first question is a stupid question. I'm going to leave it alone. So, well, I should go there. How did you get that job with Jesse? How did you get that gig?
How did I get this job?
This gig, the job, yes.
By coming to church and helping out, volunteering, and eventually he offered me a job.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. All right.
It's not like I was looking for it. It just, the time was right.
God works
It's
in
not like
mysterious
he was
ways.
not. What do you think about it?
I think it's great.
How old are you?
Yeah. I just turned 54.
Wow. Are you black or white?
I'm black.
You're black?
Keep black.
Wow.
Is that how Jesse says it?
Yeah.
Keep black. Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Interesting.
Hey, but I'm not done.
Go for it.
One more thing. The recall in California.
Yep.
What do you guys? What's your
Vote yes.
I already did that, but I'm just asking you. What's your take on it?
You mean what I think is going to happen?
Yes.
I think they're going to try to pull shenanigans, and they may or may not be successful at pulling shenanigans.
Okay.
We'll see
Fair
what
enough.
happens.
All right.
I'm voting for Larry Elder.
The 14th, then.
Yeah, the 14th is Tuesday, and I hear that they get 14 days after that for votes to continue to come in from the mail or whatever. Who knows?
All right. Right on.
Yeah.
All right.
But
thanks for taking my call.
Yeah, thank you, Vincent. Appreciate you. Make sure you tune in to Church with Jesse Lee Peterson. Do you ever do that?
I have not. I will do my best to do that.
You don't even have to tune in live. You can catch it later, but it's fun to do it live if you tune in at 11 a.m. Pacific time.
11 a.m. Pacific time.
Yeah, rebuildingtheman.com/church is the website. But it's the Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube channel. Do you tune in to Jesse on YouTube or what?
Oh, yeah, I don't go on television like normal people.
No, I'm not talking about going on television. How do you catch Jesse's show?
Through YouTube.
Okay. Yeah, so look for Bond Rebuilding the Man YouTube. That's Jesse's nonprofit, Bond Rebuilding the Man.
Okay. Oh, okay. Bond. Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
All right, Vincent. Wish you well, man.
Thanks, my friend. Thanks, pal.
Thank you. Take care.
Have a good one.
You as well. Oh! We got Nick back, I think, in the UK. A first-time caller. Nick, I'm glad you're able to call back. Hope you're there.
Hi.
Hey.
I'm Hake. How are you?
Fine, thank you.
Good.
Speak up for me, man.
Can you hear me now? Is
Yeah.
it better?
Yes.
Yes. 1 minute.
I hope he has a nice UK accent. Go ahead.
You know what it is, Hake? Your last caller, I think he was just taking the piss. Pure taking the piss. Some sort of beta male thing, that is.
Yeah.
You know, act like a woman.
Right.
And act for 90. I think that's just a waste of people's constructive time.
Right.
You know, people that pay from overseas, it might be UK, it might be Germany, it might be here, it might be there, it might be wherever, but people are still paying to call and get through to you and put their message across.
Right.
Yeah, that they are feeling some sort of distress in society. Yeah.
Did you know that you can? Did you know that you can call toll free via Skype?
Yeah.
Just so you know, Skype. You just dial 1-888-775-3773. The 888 number means you don't even have to pay the Skype thing that you normally have to pay to call a landline. You can dial a phone number for the 888 or an 800 number, and it's free. Just so you know.
You know what it is, Hake? I work that hard. I don't have time to go through the process of. In this country, you have to download apps, you have to register, you have to do this, you have to do that. You have to do 20 steps before you get through to that freeness. And you feel like that free isn't free because you've been busy working.
Right.
And, you've spent your day working and then you spend time with your children, making sure that they understand what's going on in the world, whatever issues they've had in this world that we're living in, and that they fully understand what's been said to them. Or, like in the system in terms of that schooling,
Are you on a speakerphone? Are you on a speakerphone right now?
No. I'm speaking to you directly. The phone's in my head.
Okay. Oh, you're using a headset?
No, it's just because I live in the countryside.
Oh, okay.
Far away from people now.
All right. So it's kind of breaking up.
1 minute. Right. Is this better? Can you hear me now? Is this any better?
That might be a little better. Just speak up loud and clear as much as you can.
Okay. Well, I feel like within this country, the UK, I'm from a Sikh heritage. My great-great-grandfather fought in World War I for the British people.
Yeah.
And we fight, for what is right. Okay? And what I see now is that's not what we fought for. Yeah? I can speak for a lot of the people.
Yeah.
But, these things are very weak. The beta male, they believe in social media.
You cut out there, Nick. Ah, darn. But anyway, he said, if you didn't catch that he came from a Sikh heritage. Sikh are those people that get confused with Muslims, but they're not Muslims. Like, I believe they're from India. I could be wrong. And his grandfather or somebody fought in the World War I. And he felt that they were fighting for what was right back then. But now what's happening in the UK, I think, they don't have what's right anymore. What a mess. And he was going to talk about I don't think he mentioned it yet, but he was calling it, the purpose of his call was to talk about the rape-fugees, the refugees raping and stuff. What a terrible mess going on in the world. The lines are full, guys. The lines are full. Let me quickly, before I get to, speaking of rape-fugees, before I get to Trick in Montana and Steven in Raleigh, hang on, guys. I'll try to get to as many of you as I can, but there's Islamophobia after 9/11. I got to tell you about this. This is from the far-left female-run outlet, The Skim. Some people did something on 9/11/2001. Almost 20 years ago tomorrow morning. I remember I was there. I was not there, but I remember that day. I was going to college. I had transferred to Azusa Pacific University the month or two before, and I was kind of injured. I was running cross country, and I had shin splints, and so I was riding my bike a lot. So I get up in the morning, ride my bike hard. And I was getting ready to go out and ride my bike, and my dad came out to the kitchen and told me, "Hey, come in here." And I looked. There had been a plane that had crashed into one of the World Trade Center towers, allegedly, right? And then another one flew into another tower. And then later on, they all come tumbling down. And the collateral damage knocks down the Building 7 too, right? And it was a mess. And then everybody's like, oh, blame America, blame America. Islamophobia, just because Muslims did it, we can't be racially profiling them. Don't be Islamophobic. And the Skim says, in the aftermath of 9/11, many mistakenly conflated Al-Qaeda's brand of extremism and terrorism with Islam itself, the world's second largest religion. It's a fake religion. There's only one true religion. True religion that God our Father accepts as pure and holy is this: to look after orphans and widows in their distress, and to keep oneself from being polluted by the world. But most religions are most so-called religious people are allowing themselves to be polluted by the world, including the Islam people. All anger and womanly stuff. Reprisal attacks against Muslims and even Sikhs, members of an entirely separate religion, skyrocketed, allegedly. In the months after 9/11, anti-Muslim hate crimes, so-called hate crimes, hit a high of 481 compared to 28 for all of 2000. Now the FBI reported 176 anti-Muslim hate crimes in 2019, which some advocates claim is an undercount. Meanwhile, getting profiled by the TSA at airports is still a commonplace experience for Muslim Americans. Taking up for the people who don't even really belong here. What a mess. And then most of them are Democrats, so that's how you know it's a fake religion. Most Jewish people are Democrats. Most Muslims are Democrats. Christians, the only ones who are not, for the most part. But then most black Christians, Democrats. That's how you know they're fake. What in the world? And then, not to mention this whole war on terror thing. We don't believe in Christianity. We're not going to spread Christianity. We're just going to war on terror and spread peace in the world with internationalism and feminism and multiculturalism and homosexuality. Give me a break. So phony. So, anyway. Let me get to Trick in Montana. He has a quick call to tell me something about. Trick, how are you doing?
Doing good, Big Jim Hake.
What good are you doing in the world?
Oh, I've been hiking in the high country of Montana with some friends, enjoying campfires and stars. And
that's doing well. That's not doing good.
Well, I'm glad you corrected me. But I did. I got back and I saw the senile sock puppet, your president, Joe Biden. I heard him say something, and I said, who can I call to find out if this is true? And I said, I'm calling Big Jim Hake.
James. So, the name is James.
Well, in Montana, we call you Big Jim, but I'll call you James. So,
all right.
I know.
Are you from Montana?
No, I'm originally from Minnesota.
I can tell.
But, yeah, Minnesota. But grew up hunting, fishing, Wyoming, Montana.
Oh, that's cool.
And all the way up to Alaska. My kinfolk goes up to Alaska. So, and we generally don't like Californians, but we like you. So,
nice.
This is what I heard Biden say. Something about mobile morgues, and I'm saying, the dude was saying we have to mandate vaccines for mobile morgues, and so I called a couple of my contacts in the Dirty Low in Chicago, but they didn't answer, so I said I better call Hake. So are these mobile morgues going around because people are dying left and right? What's he talking about?
I hadn't even heard of it. I didn't listen to the
it's
speech.
out of his own mouth.
I thought about listening to it, but I'm like, he's so boring. I mean, sometimes he's kind of entertaining when he says, dead, dead, dead. But he's so phony, I didn't bother watching.
Well,
and then I can say, I didn't know because I heard he mandated vaccines on everybody. And I figure I can say, I didn't know. I don't pay attention to the news. And it's true.
Well, for those of us in like rural America, we're like, are these mobile morgues like cleaning up the streets of San Francisco, LA, Chicago, Houston? That has got to be serious hyperbole.
Yeah.
James, that's hyperbole.
Yeah.
There's no mobile morgues in LA, is there?
If there are, I haven't seen them, but I kind of stay in and keep my head down. So it may be, it may not be. Yeah.
You better move to Victorville or Hesperia.
Those are ghetto places, man.
I lived in Hesperia briefly. That's a good backup plan for you guys, though. Get out. No, I just heard him say mobile morgues, and I said it's the zombie apocalypse.
Yeah, I mean, it's fear-mongering. And honestly, even the mandate itself is meant to strike fear and anger in the hearts of the people. So that one, they comply, or two, they overreact and go crazy and do something that they shouldn't and regret. Because it is enough. This stuff is enough to make people mad. It gets your mind going because it's something new. It's a complete overstep. Why not even go into Congress about it? But honestly, they don't have any say over this stuff.
You know what I call that? I call it a psyop.
Yeah, I agree, man.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Okay, well, you cleared the air for me. Now I can get back to my kung fu hiking.
All right, man. Continue to do well. Thank you.
Yes, sir. I will do well.
Take care, Trick. All right. You too. Another call. Try to get this in. Stephen in Raleigh, North Carolina. What's up?
Well, hey, how's it going?
Going well, thank you.
I had a lot to say. I guess I called in a little too late, but it was the other callers that inspired me to call in.
Yeah.
But what I will say this anyway, that nice new Crusade band, I love that, man. That's really good.
Cool.
I'm a fan of your music, so you know.
Nice.
But I guess I don't really want to give you the litany here because there's so much. But yeah, what I was going to call on is, you know what? It's probably too late. What time is it?
Go ahead and try to get your point in, your main point.
Well, I wanted to basically say sometimes when you engage in dialogues with these guys and stuff like that, it's sometimes you guys might even be on the same page, but semantics get in the way, and so it basically you just dance around issues that are necessary to dance around because you. Not always, but in the way they conduct themselves might make it a little bit harder to realize that. But some of these guys are actually trying to not be as competitive as you might think. I guess I would say.
Are you talking about like John or Jeremiah, one of those guys who thinks they believe in the Bible?
Yeah, both of those guys, I would say, kind of. I mean, I was hearing a lot when I was on hold. So,
I can tell that they want to lead moral lives, but they're phonies. And believing in the Bible versus believing in God is not a semantics.
Well,
because they're believing their false intellect. They're believing. He even said he doesn't agree with me about the intellectual thing and how deceptive that is.
Right. Well, I mean, I agree with a whole lot of things you say, but
you know what? You are going to have to call me back next week, man.
Yeah, I know.
But but I do like this call, and I agree with you. Maybe I get a little antagonistic unnecessarily with them or something. But
right.
We'll talk, man. I appreciate it, Steven.
Yeah, right on, man.
Take care.
Absolutely. You have a good one. Love you, man. Take care.
All right. Love you too. Rick in Hampton, Virginia, and Rick, a first-time caller in Texas, wanted to give an example of societal decay. And Rick wanted to talk about the vaccine mandates. And one angry Jew is calling back from Thailand. Wanted to talk about 9/11 as an inside job, which I don't know if he thinks that it is or thinks that it wasn't or what. But guys, and the rest of the callers, I cannot get to you. Have a nice weekend. Catch Church with Jesse Lee Peterson, rebuildingtheman.com/church. Today we have The Fallen State. Great episode coming out in an hour, less than an hour. I'm losing my voice. And JLP Plays no JLP Plays after all. No JLP Plays. JLP Plays got canceled today. So sad. Anyway, guys, thank you. Take care.